Federal agents have uncovered a criminal network operating inside Minnesota's daycare system. What they found will shock the nation.
At 11:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Director of Homeland Security stood behind a podium in Washington, D.C., and said 6 words that would shatter the illusion of safety across the American heartland. We have discovered a system within the system. Minneapolis, Minnesota, March 2026. Over 470 licensed daycare facilities operating across the Twin Cities metro area. Trusted by thousands of working parents, subsidized by federal and state funding, inspected, approved, clean, except 63 of them were not real. They were fronts, processing centers, distribution hubs, money laundering engines. And at the very top of this network, a name no one expected to see, Governor William Trask, the man who campaigned on protecting Minnesota families, had spent the last 3 years turning the state's child care system into the backbone of a narcotics empire controlled by the Gray Phoenix cartel. This is not a story about negligence. This is a story about engineered betrayal. And what federal agents found inside those daycare walls is worse than you think. Let me show you how deep it goes. 4:32 a.m. Central Standard Time. South Minneapolis, Powderhorn neighborhood. The streets are silent. Fog rolls low across cracked asphalt. Neon signs flicker in the darkness from a corner liquor store that has been closed for hours. No cars, no movement, just the hum of street lights and the distant rumble of freight trains crossing the Mississippi. Then, without warning, the silence shatters. 18 black Suburbans roll in from 4 directions. No lights. No sirens. FBI. ICE. DEA. Minnesota State Patrol SWAT. Department of Homeland Security Tactical Units. Over 200 federal agents moving in perfect coordination, hitting 12 locations simultaneously across Minneapolis and St. Paul. The primary target, Sunshine Steps Child Care Center. A cheerful yellow building with cartoon animals painted on the walls. A playground with swings and slides. A sign out front that reads, "Where every child shines." The door explodes inward at 4:34 a.m. Flashbangs detonate in sequence. Agents in black tactical gear pour through the entrance like a flood. Voices shouting federal commands echo through the hallways. But there are no children inside. There never were. What they find instead makes veteran agents freeze mid-step. The main playroom has been gutted. In its place, rows of industrial vacuum sealers, digital scales, and brick presses line the walls. Stacks of fentanyl pills, each stamped with a Gray Phoenix logo, fill metal shelving units from floor to ceiling. Agents estimate over 2.1 million pills in that room alone. Enough to kill half the population of Minnesota. In the back office, duffel bags stuffed with cash. Over $4.7 million in bundled hundreds and fifties. On the desk, an open laptop still displaying encrypted messaging software connected to cartel communications across the southern border. But it is what they find in the basement that changes everything. A steel, reinforced door. Keycard access. Hidden server racks running 24 hours a day, coordinating logistics for dozens of other facilities. And inside a locked drawer, a single external hard drive labeled Project Cradle in governor-level encrypted files. One agent turns to his team lead and says it quietly. This goes all the way up. 7:15 a.m. FBI Minneapolis Field Office. Cyber Forensics Division. 3 analysts sit in a darkened room, screens glowing blue in front of them. They have been working for 2 hours straight, cracking the encryption on the hard drive seized from Sunshine Steps. When the final firewall falls, what appears on the screen is not just evidence of a crime, it is a blueprint for systemic infiltration. Project Cradle, a master operation launched in late 2023 by the Gray Phoenix cartel in partnership with corrupt officials at the highest levels of Minnesota state government. The architect, Governor William Trask. The network diagram is staggering. 63 ghost daycare facilities scattered across Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bloomington, Rochester, and Duluth. each one registered as a licensed child care provider, each one receiving federal subsidies, state grants, and tax exemptions, each one inspected and approved by state officials who were either paid off or deliberately looked the other way. But these facilities were never used for children. They were narcotics processing centers, money laundering hubs, temporary holding sites for human trafficking victims moving north from the southern border, migrant smuggling transit points for cartel-controlled labor pipelines feeding into agricultural and manufacturing operations across the Midwest. The money flows are almost impossible to trace. Shell companies registered in Delaware, ghost corporations in the Cayman Islands, fake nonprofit foundations with names like Bright Futures Initiative and Safe Harbor Children's Fund, restaurant chains, logistics firms, real estate holding companies, all of it layered, laundered, and back into legitimate Minnesota businesses. But the digital signature does not lie. Every major financial authorization, every licensing approval, every inspection waiver, every funding disbursement tied directly back to one encrypted authorization key registered to the office of the governor. William Trask did not just allow this to happen. He commanded it. He designed it. He protected it. One analyst leans back in her chair and whispers to no one in particular he turned the child care system into a cartel fortress. This is not corruption. This is command-level collusion. This is not negligence. This is engineered treason. And the operation is just beginning. 6:02 a.m., Joint Operations Command Center, Minneapolis Federal Building. A massive digital wall displays a map of Minnesota glowing red with dozens of pulsing markers. Each one represents a Gray Phoenix cartel facility hidden inside the state's daycare network. FBI Special Agent in charge Marcus Holloway stands at the front of the room, surrounded by representatives from Identities and the U.S. Marshals Service. "We hit them at dawn," he says, "all of them, at once. The mission is called Operation Shattered Cradle. Over 1,000 federal agents, 47 SWAT teams, 12 Black Hawk helicopters circling target zones, armored tactical units staged at key intersections across the Twin Cities, U.S. Navy intelligence support coordinating signals intercepts, F-15 fighter jets on standby at Minneapolis-St. Paul Air Reserve Station in case cartel members attempt to flee by private aircraft. At exactly 6:30 a.m., the raids begin. In Bloomington, agents storm Little Lambs Learning Center, a facility that has been receiving $180,000 per year in state funding despite never enrolling a single child. Inside, they find 340 kilograms of methamphetamine, industrial pill presses, and encrypted communication devices linked directly to cartel commanders in Sinaloa, Mexico. In St. Paul, Creative Minds Academy is breached simultaneously. Agents discover a hidden tunnel system beneath the building, leading to an underground garage where panel vans are loaded with narcotics every 72 hours. They seize 890,000 fentanyl pills, 67 kilograms of heroin, and $2.3 million in cash. In Rochester, Sunshine Valley Preschool is revealed to be a human trafficking transit site. ICE agents find falsified immigration documents, restraint equipment, and travel logs showing over 200 individuals moved through the facility in the last 8 months alone. Some were destined for agricultural labor camps. Others disappeared into the cartel's internal networks. In Duluth, Happy Hearts Child Care is a money laundering nerve center. Federal agents seize server farms processing cryptocurrency transactions, fake invoices for services never rendered, and financial records showing over $47 million laundered through the facility since 2024. Across Minneapolis, 10 more facilities fall within the first 2 hours. Agents seize a total of 4.2 million fentanyl pills, 1,800 kilograms of cocaine, 620 kilograms of methamphetamine, 290 kilograms of heroin, over $31 million in cash, 73 firearms, and encrypted devices containing communications with Gray Phoenix cartel leadership across the border. By 12:14 p.m., the operation has hit 47 of the 63 identified facilities. Over 200 cartel members and operatives are in federal custody. And the underworld of Minneapolis has taken more damage in 6 hours than it has in the last 6 years. But the worst part is still coming. 2:47 p.m. FBI Evidence Processing Facility. Secure wing. Agents are combing through the seized servers, cross-referencing encrypted logs with state government records, patrol schedules, and internal emails from law enforcement agencies across Minnesota. What they find is a level of infiltration that even seasoned investigators did not expect. The Gray Phoenix cartel did not just bribe a few corrupt cops. They embedded operatives inside the system itself. 19 Minneapolis police officers, 14 state troopers, 6 ICE agents, 4 judges, 11 state legislators, 2 assistant attorneys general, and a network of administrative officials inside the Minnesota Department of Human Services, the agency responsible for licensing and inspecting daycare facilities, all of them on cartel payroll. The logs show everything. Border Patrol shifts deliberately adjusted to allow smuggling convoys to pass through northern entry points undetected. Falsified patrol grids designed to keep law enforcement away from cartel facilities during high traffic nights. Leaked raid schedules sent to cartel commanders hours before federal operations. Inspection reports forged to show compliance at facilities that were never visited. One email, sent from a senior state trooper to an encrypted cartel contact, reads, "Route clear. No patrols until 3 a.m. Move the product." Another message from a state legislator to Governor Trask's encrypted account reads, "Funding approved." All 63 sites covered through 2027. No audits. Agents discover that the Gray Phoenix cartel was not operating around the system. They were operating as the system, a parallel enforcement structure, a shadow government designed to protect narcotics pipelines, human trafficking routes, and money laundering operations from federal detection. One FBI agent, a 15-year veteran named Sarah Chen, sits in the evidence room staring at a photograph of a deputy police chief she once worked alongside. His name is on the cartel payroll. $40,000 per month. She does not say anything, she just closes the file and walks out. At 4:33 p.m., federal marshals begin arresting the compromised officials, sergeants, deputy chiefs, planners, judges, legislators. Some of them are taken from their offices, others from their homes. A few try to run. None of them make it far. This is not just a corruption scandal. This is the collapse of institutional trust. And the people of Minnesota are watching their leaders dragged out in handcuffs one by one. The badge will be rebuilt. The system will be rebuilt. But it starts by tearing down the rot from the inside. 9:21 p.m. Secure federal briefing room. Washington, D.C. senior officials from the FBI, ICE, and DEETS review the final intelligence reports from Operation Shattered Cradle. The scope is staggering. The Gray Phoenix cartel did not just infiltrate Minnesota, they built a continental distribution network using the state as the central hub. Trucking contractors operating under fake logistics companies moved narcotics from Minneapolis to Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. Routes disguised as agricultural shipments, industrial supplies, and charitable donations. Way stations mysteriously shut down for maintenance whenever cartel convoys pass through. Shipping manifests altered at the last minute to avoid federal inspection. The network moved an estimated 11.7 tons of narcotics per week without triggering a single federal alert. Migrant smuggling and human trafficking operations were used as cover. Individuals transported across state lines under the guise of child care staffing programs or nonprofit relocation assistance. Once inside the system, they vanished. Some were forced into labor. Others were used as drug mules. Many simply disappeared. And behind all of it, the same digital signature, Governor William Trask. Investigators uncover the final piece of the plan, a classified document titled Phase 3 Permanence. It outlines Trask's vision for turning Minnesota into the permanent headquarters for the Gray Phoenix Cartel, a state where the cartel does not hide from law enforcement but operates with law enforcement, where the government does not fight organized crime but becomes organized crime. Trask was not building a temporary network. He was building a shadow government designed to shield cartel operations for decades. One federal prosecutor reads the document aloud to the room and then sets it down on the table. "This is not infiltration," he says. "This is a hostile takeover." At 10:03 p.m., a federal grand jury issues an indictment for Governor William Trask on charges of racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, human trafficking, and conspiracy against the United States. Trask is arrested at his residence in St. Paul at 11:47 p.m. by U.S. Marshals. He does not resist. He does not speak. He just stares straight ahead as the cameras flash. Power does not always need open violence. Sometimes it only needs silence, ambition, and the trust of people who do not know they are being betrayed. The daycare system was supposed to protect children. Instead, it became a machine for death. Over 4.2 million fentanyl pills seized in a single operation. Enough to kill millions. How many of those pills would have reached your community? Your neighborhood? Your family? How many children lost parents to overdoses funded by the very system designed to care for them? This is not just a story about one cartel or one corrupt governor. This is a warning. A warning about what happens when power is left unchecked, when institutions are trusted without accountability, when silence is mistaken for stability. The Gray Phoenix Cartel chose Minnesota because they believed no one would look inside a daycare. They were almost right. If you are still watching this, tap like so more people see this story. Comment expose if you want this corruption dragged into the light. Share it with someone who needs to understand how deep organized crime can go when it wears a suit and a smile. And the scariest part, you will never see them coming until it is too late. Stay vigilant. Stay informed. And never assume the system is safe just because it looks clean. Because sometimes the most terrifying truth hides behind the most trusted face.